Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to wherever you are in the world as you get to this video. And somebody want to tell me, why is Floyd and Bud hated? Or let me say it better. Why are these guys hated? I mean, that's a real question, because when I look at Floyd and Bud and what they've done in the ring, I don't see why they're hated. I'm going to be honest with you, man. We can just take a quick peek if y'all think I'm joking. Now, this right here is Terence Crawford. 42 wins, 31 knockouts. He won every fight by knockout or by unanimous decision. The man retired undefeated. He turned pro in 2008. It's 2026. This man fought for a very long time. But still, the man don't get the respect he deserves, which is crazy to me. So my question is, what is it that he did wrong? Then you got Floyd Mayweather. He had 50 fights, 27 KOs. Won everything by barely getting touched. Like the knockout or unanimous decision, just embarrassing people. Never really came close to losing a fight. He had the Castillo fight. Some people talk about Maidana. Some people talk about De La Hoya. But really, man, Floyd never really had any problems in that ring. He turned pro in 1996. Now, this is what's interesting. Crawford turned pro in 2008. And then people were wanting Floyd, when he was getting ready to retire, to fight guys like Crawford and Earl Spence. And Floyd was like, look, I'm on my way out. You got these young guns coming up. Let them get in there and do the business. But I'm going to tell you, for me, I sit back and I try to understand Floyd. I'm like, yo, is Floyd too great? Or was he too great? Was it the bragging? What is it? But people still disrespect him as a fighter. And there's something he was doing that made him unlikable to some people. Okay? Now, I'm not saying they're right, he's wrong, they're wrong. It's just an observation. I think his style later in his career made some fans angry. Because Floyd figured out that he can win a fight with just his defense, with his timing, control, and ring IQ. Floyd knew he can basically come in the ring at a certain point and just have fun and play with them guys and just make it look like a glorified sparring session. But see, fans still wanted that pretty boy Floyd. Knockouts, he never really got into any wars. I guess he was in wars, it just made it look easy. And you weren't seeing no blood and drama from no damn Floyd Mayweather. I think the one time I seen that man bleed was Miguel Cotto. And he was in there standing and trading with him, and his uncle was telling him, yo, you're boxing him easy. Get back to boxing him. But I think so, instead of appreciating Floyd for his genius in the ring, I think fans really wanted to see him get hit. But it was damn near impossible for opponents to hit him. And then they were saying, no, he runs. He's a boxer runner. And I think greatness bored people, because Floyd figured out later that, he can remove the chaos to make the fight easy for him. Now, we all know Floyd had issues with his hands, and, he got a bit older, and he had to fight smarter. So he figured out what tools in his kit that he can utilize to basically get the job done. Did Floyd have a whole lot of tools at his disposal? Yeah. But, he didn't need to use them all. And that's what he did. He said, if I could take these one or two or maybe three tools out, my jab, stab jab, that straight right hand, that check left hook, well, then that's all I'm going to use. So Floyd really only, at the end of his career, was winning fights with 3 or 4 tools out of his toolkit, opposed to the shit he was doing early in his career when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. And that lifestyle flashy and all that shit he was doing was something amazing. But I think another reason is because Floyd went in there and he beat people's heroes. And he made those guys look less than average. He didn't just win. He beat Oscar. He beat Ricky Hatton. He beat Cotto. He beat Pacquiao. He beat Canelo. And every time he won, he took away from some fans' favorite fighter. He took away from a dream for these fighters. He took away from a narrative that people wanted to create, that fighters wanted to create. So fans didn't just hate Floyd, they hated what he represented. The end of hope. And up with rope-a-dope. They hated his ass, boy. But you know what I really think it is too? Is he played the villain perfectly. Floyd was out here, man. He did a great job. Those are HBO, what's it called? 24/7 or HBO. See, I tell you, my ass getting old. What the hell was that shit called? I'm gonna look it up right now because it's driving me crazy, man. Not all access. HBO. Is it a 24/7? Let me see, man. Yeah. It was 24/7 all access. So yeah, I had it right. So watching those, I still watch them sometimes. Those were very, very entertaining. Very entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But he played that villain role and had everybody watching that. He's the first one. I think he was a trendsetter. He's the one to get that popping off, man. You know what I mean? Where the cameras are following the fighters like that. But Floyd leaned into being as arrogant as possible with the money talk, showing off all the luxury, the ego, the bravado. He really played that up and made a lot of people love him and a lot of people hate him. He became the bad guy, the rich guy, and the undefeated guy. And fans wanted him humble, and he never was. That made his hate permanent. That's why even now, when you see him going through whatever he's going through with Al Heyman and Showtime and the lawsuits, people are cheering the lawsuit on, and they're hoping that he loses, and they're hoping that he doesn't get that money. There's people who are like, good for him. All you've done is brag and boast about money and not realizing that's his character, and you've made people feel like they don't have, so they're less than you. They should feel inferior. You feel like you're superior because of money. Now you're having some money issues. At least something that should have been, you feel like it should have been yours. They're hoping that shit's not true. You know what I'm saying? But for me, when it comes to boxing, you can feel how you want to feel about him as a human being. But as a fighter, you still got to give him credit. There are fighters right now who are fighting, male and female. Doesn't matter how you feel about them as an individual. To me, you got to separate the two. As a fighter, they get busy. And then you got Terence Crawford. I really don't know why he gets flack. I'm just being honest. What the hell? What did Crawford do? He's just too good and was just too quiet. He and Floyd were a lot alike at being too good, but a lot different. And one being really loud, vociferous, and the other one being really reticent. And that's the style contrast and personality contrast between the two. Crawford didn't trash talk. He ain't self-promote. He didn't beg for love. Crawford didn't do all that shit. He just fought, dominated, went his ass home, was fishing, catching them bluegills, and chilling out there in the mean streets of Omaha, Nebraska. And I think fans often confuse that quiet confidence with lack of personality. Instead of saying he's dangerous, he's accomplished, he's great, they say, oh, he's boring. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen Crawford in a boring fight. Maybe because my lens is different from some people, but I don't see how they can say Crawford was in a boring fight. I'm like, where'd that shit come from? But I do think politics hurt his reputation, man. Crawford was trapped with Top Rank, and all kind of boxing politics caused Crawford a whole lot of grief and couldn't get him to fights when he wanted the fights. When he finally got a big fight, it was Porter down the road. Porter wasn't really in his prime. Spence, down the road after Spence had been through a whole lot. So he missed some mega fights. Crawford should have fought everybody on PBC at 147. But it is what it is. But some fans still don't get the politics of boxing. They just end up blaming him. They don't blame the promoters. They're not blaming the networks. They just say, oh shit, Terence Crawford putting duck sauce on the fried rice. Even though the business was blocking him. The politics was blocking him. But the reality is, it doesn't matter if he would have fought them early in their careers or fought them late, where he fought some of them late. I think Crawford would have made it look easy. I'm just being honest with you. You got to give credit where credit's due. You know what I'm saying? When Crawford beat Spence, a lot of people thought Spence was going to win. I did not. They went crazy on my channel and shit, talking about I didn't know shit about boxing. They hit me with the Roger Mayweather. I had to tell them, hey, yo, McNicholas, hold your horses and stop taking to the goddamn stupid. Crawford beat Spence. He was dominant. He was surgical. He was humiliating Earl Spence. And then fans didn't say Crawford was great. They said Spence was damaged. Which I do believe there's something that may have been going on with Spence. But, I mean, he came back from the car accident and he dominated people. So I'm not so sure that I want to just roll with that excuse for Spence losing like that. I think he lost like that because Terence Crawford just showed he was levels above Earl Spence. But the reason why people say that is because it's easier to explain away greatness than to just accept greatness. You know what I'm saying? And while both sides struggle with fans, look, they didn't need fan approval. Floyd didn't need it. Crawford didn't need it. Even fans who hated on him knew them. And hated on him then and hate on him now, they know them guys were the real deal. They know Crawford and Floyd Mayweather were the real deal, man. Both of those guys, they didn't need to beg for love. They didn't soften themselves. They didn't change styles. Fans like fighters who need them, who beg for them, who suffer for them, who let them dictate the way they're going to move and what they're going to do. That shit ain't happening with anybody out here. You know what I'm saying? These fans, cool. People like fans. They like people to support them. But at the same time, you got a little bit of, man, F y'all. It ain't about y'all. It's about me. You know, we would love to support, but we ain't going to beg you for support. And I agree with that shit 100%. You know what I'm saying? You got to just remain consistent and do you. And that's what they did. And be true to yourself. Have some integrity and values. So those guys did what they did. And look, the money, they still made money hand over fist. Still make money hand over fist. So the real people out there will recognize people who are out here, man, and sticking to their integrity and values. And they're going to get behind you and support you. And that's why Crawford and Bud made the kind of money that they made. Crawford and Floyd, they didn't change their styles, and that made some people uncomfortable. And people get uncomfortable, man, when you don't go with the flow. And I think that's what happened with them. So I just think at the time Floyd was transitioning as he was getting ready into the end of his career, where Crawford got active, and throughout Crawford's career, fans start wanting greatness with chaos. You know, they want greatness, but they want chaos. People want drama. People are dark. This is the internet era. They want chaos. They want drama. They don't want anyone to be clean and be fair, and they want you to be chaotic. They want to see you crash out. They want to see you fall on your face for their entertainment. And Crawford and Floyd, neither one of them were doing that. They took little damage. They control fights. And they rarely looked desperate. And I think that right there frustrated a lot of fans, because fans wanted some kind of emotion, some kind of vulnerability. They want blood. They want someone to come out here and say that, you know, y'all are right, I'm wrong, and, you know, please support me. Man, they weren't doing that shit. I don't think anybody who got this shit together give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And I respect the fact that those guys are like, they didn't allow these fans and these people on social media to get their heads tied up. Nah, it's just like the other day I seen somebody disrespecting Crawford. It's like, yo, when are people that's going to leave this man alone? That's the question I'm asking. But the bottom line is Crawford and Floyd gave dominance. They gave calculation. They gave control. So people could call it boring. They could say they were running. They could say they were playing it safe. They could say whatever they want. But I'm going to tell you what the truth is, man. Floyd and Terence Crawford, they share one thing. They were hated because they exposed fighters. They exposed fans. They exposed promoters. They shattered narratives. They refused to lose. They didn't play the fan game. They didn't lose. They didn't lose pretty. They won efficiently. You know what I'm saying? And dominated every single fight. Knockout. Unanimous decision. Floyd had a couple little splits, but we all know what time it was in those fights. And fans don't always respect efficiency when it comes to violence. They want violence. They want the mash up, crash up, and they want drama. They don't want dominance. So my final point when it comes to Floyd and Crawford, I just never cease to amaze me, man. You know, every day somebody says something different and wants to take away from those guys. This whole argument about MMA and boxing, MMA is them guys deserve a whole lot of respect. Those MMA fighters, man, them guys are tough guys. And the ladies, they're tough, man. That's a different world. You know, so they want to talk trash about it, you know, if, hey, we were to fight one of y'all, we would, you know, destroy you. You know, they may be right. In a regular street fight, they may be right. Because they have a lot more tools, boy, in the legs and elbows and chokeholds and all that, grappling. I mean, they have a different skill set. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't mean you come out here, man, and try to take away from these guys' greatness in their discipline. You just can't do that. You got to give them their respect. And I think Floyd and Bud both deserve respect. But at the end of the day, I think they were hated. Floyd, anyway, because he was loud and unbeatable. I think Crawford was hated and is still hated because he was quiet and unbeatable. Just different personalities, the exact same problem, man. They didn't give fans what they wanted all the time. They gave fans what they needed and which was the truth about skill, and what fans needed was for them to get in that ring and win. And that's what they needed more than anything, and that's what they did. So anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. People need to take it easy on Floyd and Crawford, man. That's my opinion. Them guys, they did the business. Outstanding fighters. Both of them guys undefeated, man. Y'all, I ain't making this stuff up, man. I mean, when you look at these records, 42 fights, 31 knockouts, man. I mean, you got to put some respect on Terence Crawford's name. You know what I'm saying? 11 people went the distance, and they lost by unanimous decision, and they probably should have bowed out instead of getting the shit beat out of them the whole fight. Then you look at Floyd, all the weight divisions he moved up, and to see him go from 130 to 154 and dominate the way he did, man. You know, I'll be honest with you. Floyd wanted to become undisputed in every weight class he could have. Everyone knows Floyd was that special. Everyone knows that. And as far as you see all them knockouts, he was destroying people early in his career. He started having hand problems. He started fighting smart. You know what I'm saying? But one thing about Floyd, if he got you hurt, he would try to finish you. Same thing with Crawford. Crawford was always looking to knock you out. But that's one thing about Floyd. He would try to finish you. But a lot of guys he fought, man, they would start moving around too because they were like, shit. People think Floyd don't hit hard. They say, yo, you think he don't hit hard. Floyd can crack. Anyway, man, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. In the breeze.